What are some specific things that they look for from an IP perspective? I know it probably depends on the specific industry, the specific product and service. Software is different than hardware. Um, a specific IP investment in a particular asset is different than investing in a full company. But what do they generally look at from an IP perspective that they want to see from an early stage company? Again, talking pre-seed to Series B.
Yeah. So pre-seed to Series B, kind of early stage companies, it's a lot of the stuff, I think the technical stuff, right? So like I said, who is here? What have they built? What have they contributed? Some of the key questions will be things like, has everyone contributed their IP? If not, what have they excluded? Does the company need any of those things that have been excluded in order for their product to be successful, right? So if I'm an employee and I come to startup A to work, and startup A hires me because I have a lot of expertise in a particular area, developing a particular type of IP or contributing to a particular type of IP, maybe at a private company or my own company. And I come in and I build some things for startup A, but I never assign my IP to startup A, any of it. Then there's a question around whether startup A can actually has the right to continue to use the things that I've contributed if I decide that I'm going to leave startup A, or if I no longer want startup A to use those things, right? So an investor is going to ask, have you checked those boxes? Have you done what you need to do to make sure that my contributions to startup A actually are owned by startup A? Because the investor is thinking about 5 to 7 to 10 years down the line when the company's worth a whole lot of money because everything has been successful, they've been successful, or when we're approaching an exit and we have to make sure that, those things are clear, that the IP chain of title is established, it's well established, and it's clear, right? So have all of your employees and service providers signed up the right paperwork and done the assignment kind of thing. But every now and again, there are things that might be embedded in a company's product or that a company uses to build or develop its product that it doesn't actually have a right to use, or where a right can be revoked. And it doesn't mean that an investor is going to necessarily walk away or blow up the deal, but they'll want to understand, is that thing or those things necessary for this product to succeed? If we take out his contribution, does the product still work? Is it something that we can re-engineer? Is there a gap that we can fill? Is it a necessary element of the business or of the product? And if not, then it's probably okay, But if it is, then we have a big problem. We have a problem that we have to solve, a question that we have to answer. And so investors will care a lot about those things. They'll spend time in diligence, kind of reviewing the company's records to make sure that they thought about those things and that they have answers for those things. Other elements that have come up in more recent years are open source materials, how companies use open source materials. A lot of early stage companies don't necessarily track their use of open source materials and libraries, but investors will actually care about that. They want to know that you're not using things that will taint your product or your ability to sell or capitalize on your product, right? Because some open source software has stipulations. So you can only use it or embed it if you treat it a certain way. And you might not be able to monetize your product correctly or well if you have those software elements embedded in your product.